Clemson at Notre Dame. Notre Dame, this line's been floating between like 3.5 and 4.5 all week. Over under is crashing. I don't know if it's still crashing. Was crashing because there's weather. Wind. I don't know if there's rain also, but this total has come down because of weather. I'll let you go first here. What do you got?
Yeah, it looks like a real minimal, like less than 10% chance of precipitation. There's going to be 20-mile-an-hour sustained winds at Notre Dame Stadium. It's kind of a diagonal pattern from the corner of one end zone to the other. So not really a true like sideline to sideline cross orientation. Both of these teams last played Syracuse, so it's easy to kind of pivot to those box scores and try to make a deduction on who's going to win this game. Notre Dame outgained Syracuse on the ground by 2 yards per play, but Sean Tucker was limited. Garrett Schrader was kept out of the second half with injury. And then Notre Dame's running back, Audric Estime, has really kind of separated himself from the other two running backs, 20 carries for 123 yards and 2 TDs. But there was zero passing game there for Drew Pine. And a healthy Schrader torched the Clemson defense on the ground. Clemson ran wild on the Syracuse defense also. Will Shipley went 172 yards and two TDs. And DJ Uiagalelei was passed by Cade Klubnik in the game, but we're expecting DJ to start here. So how does that line up for how I look at this? Both of these teams have a very heavy rush rate, which kind of takes that wind, the total like crashing down. Does that really matter, like with the wind and everything? Because it's two teams that prefer to run, like 56 to 50%. So by far, Clemson has the advantages when it comes to stopping the rush. So for that, I would lean to the Clemson side, even though I make this Clemson -3. I'm having a hard time being sold on Notre Dame stopping the ground attack or being, or stopping an explosive pass. I think the number's correct. I'd rather much hit a depressed over with sustained 20-mile-an-hour winds when this is just a ground game anyways. I mean, that formula wasn't going to change no matter what the weather was. Give me some precip that probably might help with some angles and some people slipping and stuff, but I have no worries about DJ's ball in flight. He's got one of the strongest arms in all of college football. So I will let the market continue to bash on this total because they think the weather's going to be terrible when it was going to be a ground game the whole way anyways, with throws to the tight end. So, and then I'm going to fire on the over.
I bet Notre Dame here for 4.5. I'd still bet at 3.5. I make this line 2 somehow. I was shocked I did, but not really because I think Clemson is a fraud. I dug into Clemson's numbers and by the way, Notre Dame's defense, yeah, they've been gashed at times on the run. I really like what they did finally last week. They started blitzing a ton, which they haven't been doing this year. I think they're going to load the box, bring a ton of pressure, and say, beat us by throwing the ball in these crosswinds. And the Clemson offense has been lucky on late downs, and I don't trust DJU as much as everyone has fallen in love with them. And the Clemson defense is what is a mystery to me. They aren't elite up front. Like, they don't grade out elite. What are their line yards are like 60th, and all of their rush defense numbers. I don't know if they just haven't been able to build continuity because of injuries, but this isn't a dominant unit. And so it's very puzzling because all of the talent is there. So yeah, I think Clemson is ripe, and I think Notre Dame is going to win this game outright. And I don't disagree with your take on how these teams want to move the ball, and the weather might not impact it that much. But yeah, line value alone, and this Clemson team has been kind of just, you go back to that Florida State game, Florida State was moving up and down the field. Wake Forest should have won that game. They were moving up and down the field. I think Clemson's ripe for the picking here, and the college football gods are going to knock them out of the college football playoff. Let's go Irish.